Welcome back, guys. Got a real special one here for you today. I'm going to take you through this short sale here in Northport. Was actually supposed to meet a customer here, but we got our wires crossed, so figured I'd come out and take a look at it. It is definitely not in the condition that some of the other short sales we featured on the channel are. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be pretty educational. Right around the corner, they're building a brand new house as well that we're going to take a quick tour through. Why that is relevant is because new home prices, according to reports, just hit a 4-year low. We're talking 2021 new home prices. As I walk by, wouldn't you guess it, a new home right across the street from this short sale. And what would you wager is across the street from this new home? If you said another new home, you'd be right. So you can see, again, just walking down one street, there's going to be another one. Just coming down one block here in Northport, guys, there's new houses being built everywhere. So that is helping this decline. I mean, from what these reports indicate, which I'll link in the description, new home prices are down 8% year over year at 2021 levels. Some reports indicating builders like Lennar are selling homes at 2018 prices in some areas. And when you consider inflation in that, if that is true, oh my God, like what your purchasing power is now compared to 2018, and some of their models are selling at 2018 prices. Yeesh. Now I have nothing to substantiate that. I saw that on the internet, but woo. So it's actually way worse than, even if you go to 2021 prices like they are reporting, that is still at this point 5 years, now that we're in 2026, 5 years ago of inflation. Like, that's crazy. But that's what's happening here. That it's not uncommon to see new builds selling for very close to what they were selling during those times. I'll show you another example, unfortunately, in Westport again. We'll put that in here as well, where that's precisely what happened to people who bought there in some of these communities. They purchased at the top, and then the builder slashed and burned, and now they need to resell, and they can't. And they can't rent it out. And some are selling at a loss, like I'll show you here as well. And like I said, guys, I didn't even make it down the block. It's everywhere. And I'm going to another one around the corner. It's absolutely crazy. So this is the times we live in, specifically in Southwest Florida. But these reports are nationwide. You know, we've been talking about this here for the better part of 2 years. But now to see things that we first saw here, and everyone was like, you're crazy. You know, the market's not adjusting. You know, we all saw this coming a year, 2 years ago. To see the rest of the country start to have to deal with this. Very interesting, super interesting stuff. This is the property, guys. You can see it's a 3.2, 1689 square feet, built in 2022. So this is practically a brand new house. Yeah, and it's already up for short sale. Unfortunately, short sale approved. From what I'm being told, this has 125 days on the market. This is basically the bottom floor. I don't know, we'll see. But you can see they picked it up for $334 in 2022. Short sailed it for $250 3 months ago. They got an offer on it, and then it fell apart and came back on the market. Flat at $219. I have no idea what happened here. I'm going to assume that's probably where it appraised for, but I'm told that's the bottom line. Here is your Brutal's estimate. Man, never seen, you don't see lines like that on Zillow very much. And obviously we're going to walk this property because there's no interior pictures, and you will see why. I will say, when the backyard looks like this, guys, pretty good indication of what the inside looks like. So exterior seems to be in good condition. The HVAC looked good. The water system looked good. This is well and septic. You've got some damage, some schmutz above the garage there. You know, obviously this needs to be cleaned. So interior wise, it's kind of left as is. The power isn't on, always a concern in Florida when the AC is not running in a place for too long, but you can see people's, belongings are still in here. So the floor is most likely going to need to be redone, just from various spots. Cabinets, a lot of damage. The fridge is gone. So this is why the pricing is the way it is. I don't even know if it's worth trying to clean any of this floor-wise or cabinet-wise or painting. You could probably salvage the countertops for the most part and the cabinets, except here, this looks like this is burned, unfortunately. So I've never actually run into that. I don't know if that's fixable. So I'm not a granite guy. I never seen burned granite before. I think that's a burn. It may be a stain. Got an interior laundry. So, your usual stuff here. This is a lived-in house, but like I said, still belongings. But I got to be honest with you guys, it's not really even close to what I used to see across the area. I mean, there was holes in walls, places were destroyed, ceilings ripped down, pipes ripped out. So this needs some work. Don't get me wrong, but I think as you'll see, it's not to the degree that I would find things on the, kind of the tail end of the last crisis here, like 2015, 2016, when I used to show foreclosures or short sales and they were abandoned like this. The damage was extensive. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mostly here, this looks cosmetic. Don't get me, there's a lot of stuff you got to do. But this does mostly look cosmetic to me. It doesn't it doesn't look great. Yeah. But we had one house, I'll never forget, I took customers to a house in Deep Creek. It was a foreclosure, and we had to nickname it the shit house because whether animal or human, there was just feces all over the house. It was everywhere, walls, floors. I've to this day never seen anything like it since. There were a lot of houses with just the exterior walls missing back then. You could tell people were living inside them, doing illegal activities, some spoons laying around. So this to me, yeah, it's messy, but it's not to the caliber of what I'm used to seeing. Maybe it gets back there around this area at some time. I highly doubt it, but I wasn't afraid to go in here. I wasn't afraid for my life. Back in the day, you didn't know what was going to be on the other side of this door. If it was a person, people were living in here. And maybe I just came at the right time. The three bears weren't home. Maybe somebody is. But that's not the way. It just kind of looks like this is, they took their stuff and left. It was the end of the road for these people. So, and I apologize. My gimbal, well, you could see some ceiling issues there. My gimbal was really messing up during this tour. So when I came into the primary bath here, I actually removed it and just went handheld. So you'll see me transition here once we get in there. But this is your primary bedroom. So, built in 2022, it's a shame to see it this way, but this is what it is. This is why they want 219. With the market the way it is right now, what do you guys think at that price? Do you guys think this is worth 219? There is a lot of work here. Don't get me wrong. Okay, and that's where I lost the gimbal again. I went handheld, just kind of giving you guys the, the whole overview. So let me know what you think of this place in the comments. I don't see stuff like this very regular. Most of the short sales, to be honest with you, are like pristine, brand new, immaculate houses. So this is the first time I've run into this in the better part of a decade, really, and we'll see if a trend is developing here. So I know I've shown some short sales around the areas. They are generally not in that state. So it's not to the degree that I used to see, foreclosures and short sales. That was kind of clean, as I said, compared to things I used to see 10 years ago. So not that bad, but still, some of that starting. That's the first one I've really seen. But that's what's going to happen when you have new homes outpacing existing homes in pricing this bad. Look at this gap here. It's closed. It's closed. It's now, according to this chart, more expensive currently to buy an existing house than to go out and get a new construction. That's never happened. I can't think of a time when that's happened. I mean, it's not been since I've been in the industry. So unfortunately, it's left a lot of people that bought recently in bad situations, like we've seen with the short sales, like we've seen in areas of Westport. Take a look at the loss that, unfortunately, this homeowner had to incur. So guys, this house in the Cove is one of the most brutal and vicious losses very quickly that I've ever seen on this channel. Absolutely massive, 2920 under air, 4 beds, 5 baths. It's really 4.5 baths. Colossal house, built in 24, just sold for $425. Wait till you see what they bought this for. $146 a square foot. Let's take a look at the pictures. So as you can see, paver driveway, 3-car garage, water view. This is a Taylor Morrison build. It's a beautiful house. I showed actually 2 friends of the channel this house, and they said, this is too much house. Every single bedroom had its own bathroom, and then it had the half bath, but it was just too much. They ended up buying the same exact, they both bought an Amelia model in the Cove, still a Taylor Morrison build, but not this one. Plus the pricing on this was just laughable. It was insane what they were asking and what you could get brand new. And this is really what hung them up and what I'm talking about. But you can see, like, this is a barely lived in house. They wait till you see how long they owned it before they put it on the market. It's tragic. I feel bad, but it's a beautiful home. That's the pantry, by the way. Massive, massive pantry. It's just an all-around enormous home, and it's in great shape because it was barely lived in. I'm not crazy where the lanai is located. I like that it's in the middle of the house, but there's no access points from the sides. Not uncommon with these builds, but it's got 2 walls here, so walling it off like that, you know, was kind of the point of contention that both of my people had looking at it. As you can see, you're gonna be hard pressed to find a larger home for $425,000 in this area currently. So I think the people who picked it up, they made out pretty good. Even the 3-car was epoxied. It just was a very, very nice home. So unfortunately, guys, sells for $425, was originally purchased for $597, almost $600,000. You're talking almost $175,000 loss. This was October of 24. In less than 15 months, these people took a $175,000 loss on this house. That is, I've never seen something happen that quickly, that severely. Normally, you know, and normally it's like the crazy asking price is this, and then it finally closes at $425. But no, this actually sold for this price, and $175,000 later gets it done less than 16 months out. And it was not a short sale, guys. It was not a short sale. It was just on the market that way, unfortunately. So, you know, 30% loss in 16 months. So that's unfortunate, guys. Historically, that's not how it goes. Usually you're the first in a community, you get the best deal. This cycle, it's kind of bit a lot of people in the ass in the end here. It's turned around, and this is what has happened. And last month alone, 40% of builders reported cutting prices, 67% reporting using incentives to get the deals done. Mortgage rate buy downs, you know, that's from the Home Builder Sentiment Survey. And as we discussed before, as a resale seller, like somewhere in the Cove where this person was trying to sell, you can't compete with that. You know, not only has the value diminished, you can't offer the incentives that they're building them brand new right next to you. And it's not something that we've seen happen. I haven't. I don't know if you guys have lived through something like this where you buy in and then the builder just undercuts everybody for the next 2 years. Like I said, it's generally not how it goes, but this go around, you know, it is. And you'll see a lot of these are in a CDD or an HOA like that one, but the short sale I showed you isn't. So really crazy stuff. Really crazy stuff. I remember when they started building Westport. I thought it was crazy. I live there now, but at the time, you know, things have changed. I mean, the way that they portrayed that area, it was going to be a big commercial workspace with, you know, bike to work balance, and they were going to have a water park and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I just didn't see it at the time. All of those plans have since been canceled, obviously. I just didn't have the confidence in that for that area of Charlotte County at this time. Now, they have turned around and decided they are going to develop some of these areas. Like they're putting a Publix right next to Westport, which is awesome. There's going to be commercial space, but is it going to be like an office work balance kind of thing? I don't think so. You know, if you want to live in Westport and walk to your job at, you know, maybe the waitressing, whatever restaurant's in there, or Publix, I can see that working out if the pricing's reasonable. But that's where it was at. And unfortunately, if you bought in early, that's what was sold to you. If you're out of state and you're just coming here, I mean, you have no way of knowing if that's feasible or not. But unfortunately, that's how you get caught up in these situations. Now, I've been telling you guys that we had a very strong fall. We've seen a lot of new construction come off the market, specifically like in areas in the Cove. Like that, they sold that place out. Taylor Morrison is basically out of there now. And that wasn't the case over the summer. Nothing was moving. So it's been very interesting to see that. This article kind of substantiates what I've been saying. Regionally, they say the South, the uptick in sales in the South, sales volume was up 42.1% from the same time last year. Midwest was up 21%, Northeast and West, it's down. So, and this is another example. This is right behind the short sale, guys. This is a Holiday Builders home, move-in ready. So this is right around the corner. Let's take a look at the pricing and we'll do a tour on this as well. This is the new construction we're going to tour, guys. They're asking $289, no photos of it, so obviously going to do the tour again. It's a 3.2, 1,284 square feet. Kind of an interesting layout. Things I like about it, things I'm not crazy about. $225 a square foot, though. So let's take a look. Okay, so as we come up the driveway, you can see this is also a well and septic, no irrigation. They're trying to water the lawn here just to keep it looking good. All your grass in Florida dies if you don't have an irrigation system in the winter months, and then it comes back in the summer generally. But usually new constructions do not have irrigation built into them. So this house, what I thought was interesting is you come in and it's kind of segregated off. So right away you have your two guest suites here on the right, which I kind of like because it keeps the rest of the house, like you could be pretty private over here. You know, you get your standard, you know, almost, I don't want to say like tub fitter here, but you know, this is going to be base grade stuff at this price point. But a decent sized room, you know, you can use this as an office or a kid's room. Same thing over here for guests. I've never really seen a house laid out like this, to be honest with you, the way it is. And, I do appreciate that this is kind of off on its own. Like people can just come and go in and out of the door. They're not going to bother anybody in the primary. Really, if you're in the kitchen, you're not even going to hear them coming or going. They've got the handler right here. So I thought it might be a closet, but it's the handler. So now this is kind of your living room, dining room space. I think this could work for a family, but this seems to me geared to two people and maybe one kid or a retired couple. Nice size yard in the back though. You can see the new construction that I walked by on the previous street back there. It's just everywhere. And then this I thought was interesting. So that's your garage entrance on the right there. What do you guys think about this kitchen layout? Me personally, I like that you could see the living area. I would like a window somewhere around here, but I understand why they didn't do it. You got your laundry in here with your pantry on the left there as well. No fridge. You're gonna have to put that fridge in yourself. I don't know if that comes with the appliances. I'd have to double check. But I thought it was like, the fridge is like in the center of the home with everything else around the sides of it, and only one access point. So I don't know. What do you guys think of this living space? Obviously, 2-car garage in here. Standard, nothing crazy. People like to see the garages, so I'm just showing the garage. You know, it is what it is. It's concrete for, you know, 3 walls and a door. And then you have your primary against this wall. I'll give you one spin, kind of show you the layout in full. And then this is your primary bedroom. You do get a bathroom in here. You're getting one vanity with a seating area. Have to close the door to access the seating area if you want to, you know, utilize that. Same kind of style here. And then I forgot to actually turn around and show you the walk-in. So I'm going to cut here and kind of end the video on the walk-in. So it was hiding behind the door. I didn't see it when I first came through, but you do get your walk-in closet here as well. Let me know what you guys think. So guys, what'd you think of that place? I mean, these things are going up everywhere. That's a house under 3, at least when I walked through it. It was under 3. Who knows if they change it? Sometimes they like to raise their prices. But, you know, a lot of people came off the bench this fall. It's showing up in this article. You know, not only did they say the South had the strongest sales volumes in the fall, even on a non-seasonally adjusted basis. October was the strongest month of 2025 for the South region in terms of new homes sold. A lot of people took advantage of what I would consider builder desperation at this point. I'm just going to be completely honest. I mean, some of these things that I saw or I sold towards the end of the year, it's in the eye of the beholder if it's a good deal or not. But man, I mean, we're talking massive prices, massive price adjustments off the original asking prices, and then incentives. And so it was too much for some people to resist. I get it. I totally get it. But they're not just attributing this, finally, in this article to lower rates, because rates are slightly lower. As I'm recording this, I think we're somewhere like 6.15, maybe. You know, that's if you don't buy anything down. But they're saying it was the lower prices that did it. And that's what we've all been saying all along. That's what we've been hammering on all along. The price has to come down, and now it has. So if it's come down to the degree that you personally feel comfortable jumping in, that's a person-by-person decision. But there are people that, hey, this was the movement I was looking for. What's this guy got going on here? Northport's got some crazy houses, guys. What is this thing? This guy's building a garage out here for this. Oh, that scared the living hell out of me. Oh my God. Look at this dude's car. Look at his car, and he had a skeleton sitting in there that looked right at me, and I panicked. I thought he was sitting in there peeking at me. So that's kind of cool, man. You don't see a lot of, I guess I'm starting to see more of this kind of stuff, but it looks like he's going to be putting a pretty big garage there. That's awesome. That's kind of awesome. And what's this? Is this garage attached over here? We got another one right across the street. Oh no, that's a house. That's weird. Why you got a side door on the side of your house back there? That's new. Haven't seen. There's just a side door on the back of that home. Interesting. So, I think I was wrong. They do have a giant garage over there. I knew it. I knew I smelt a garage around here somewhere. It's a garagey neighborhood. Now, it's one of the metal buildings you are no longer going to be able to build, according to Northport here shortly. So, man, massive, awesome. Love to see it. Getting distracting again. Okay. So, they are finally admitting prices are the ultimate problem. And in the southwest region of Florida, some of that is getting solved for some people. It's not where everyone wants it to be. Who knows if it keeps going? We'll see. As we get through season, people mentioned, I said in a few videos back, we're not in season. I don't really consider season till February. Like, I feel like, yeah, we're in season. There's people here, but the buying game is warming up. Everyone's getting here. Middle of January, late January, starting to get serious. So I think February is when we heat up, but that's just my personal opinion. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to see how aggressive they get during the season. Usually they don't. Usually builders don't stay aggressive during the height of season, but with all of this inventory, with how much they're building, it's going to come down to each individual location. Like, did they sell out a lot of stuff in the fall? If they did, they're probably not going to be willing to work like they would had none of their inventory moved in the fall. So it's a case-by-case basis for the new builds. And, they say here. A great guest I had on my channel said the same thing one time. Ryan Vlasic, awesome agent up in Siesta Key. Check him out. He's got his own YouTube channel. Builders are more motivated sellers than regular homeowners. And he said that to me for the first time. He said, there's no more motivated seller than a builder. And that always stuck with me. So he's right. They're not going to delist. They may raise their price. I've seen them do that. But they're not going to delist and wait for later. They're going to move inventory because they have to. Their shareholders all but demand it. And they do point out that with a 10% down payment, the typical monthly mortgage payment on new homes sold in October was about $2,170. That's $240 cheaper had you purchased the year earlier. Again, that's not taxes and insurance, I don't think. That's just, they can't include those. There's no way for them to estimate it. It's too big. So you have to do that with a lender or kind of do some of your own research there. So interesting times for 2026. I'm excited for it, guys. I still believe we're going to have a strong closing season. I think we're going to sell a lot of homes. I think we might sell more homes than we sold last year. I don't think it's going to be like a FOMO price goes up situation unless I always say, I never know what the government's going to do. I never know what policy is going to do. So right now, my opinion is it's probably going to be status quo, but we're going to move inventory. New construction's still going to dominate. I mean, it's changed some people's minds. A lot of people don't want to be in an HOA for the same reason you saw me walking around here. Beautiful, giant garages, build whatever you want, within reason. But sometimes the pricing, and the neighborhoods, it's Florida, guys. Things can change street to street. And sometimes people come down here and they're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go in the HOA. And the incentives, everything's there with the new builds. So I've had it happen where people have come and looked at pool homes. We've looked at used pool homes for a day, and they've said, nope, just going to go buy new. I'll put the pool in. And in an HOA, don't care. Have people come and look at new construction outside of HOAs, drive around, spend a few days. Not everybody's uniform on every block with how they maintain their property, and then they decided HOA there. And vice versa, same thing happens. People come into HOAs, they go, oh, I can't, these houses are so close together, I can't do this, and they buy outside. So it's a personal preference, but two questions I got asked recently in the comments I want to address. One was actually an email. The first one, since we're talking about street to street, how things can change, somebody asked me about crime in the area, specifically crime in Northport. And I have to explain to you guys, legally, I'm not really allowed to talk about that because I don't want to be accused of steering someone in one neighborhood or the other. There are fair housing violations for that. So I have to defer to the internet and say, hey, check out the internet, check out the crime statistics. But that's just how things in place have made it. Also, not sure I'm the best guy to be asking, as some of you know. I grew up in New York City, so a shooting here or there to me is to be expected. That's that's how I grew up. I'm not saying that there's shootings in the areas, but if there was, that's why that was a part of life down there, or up there. Excuse me. Unfortunately, it was not uncommon for that to happen, robberies, things like that. So I'm not really the right guy. And my threshold for crime is going to be vastly different than somebody, say, from, a rural town in the Midwest. It's not going to be the same at the end of the day. The other question I got is, who is buying these properties? Who's buying? Are these all out-of-staters? Are these locals? It's a pretty good mix of both, guys. I went over this back in the fall, and it's holding the same, basically. It's locals are buying because, in some of these HOAs, you can get a 2,500 square foot house for under $350. Now, you do have HOA fees. And, people from out of state are seeing the same thing and buying. Or you get a 289er for locals. Is it a huge house? No. It's a starter house. But unfortunately, that might be where starter house prices are from now on. So it's honestly a pretty good mix of locals and people from out of state. More so than it used to be. It's a lot better. It used to just be out-of-state cash buyers just crushing everybody. We don't really have as much of that anymore. We'll see if they come back this year. Investors have practically left the building in most areas still. We started talking about that 2 years ago. So that's real. And I mean, that's what I'm seeing. I'm just one man. All right, friends, that's going to do it for me today. If you like this video, give me a like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.